Okay.
Guard your peace. Hey, bro, you have to be brave enough to unlearn what has kept you from being the best version of yourself. Guard your
All I
peace.
see is black. You drained the color from my life, stole the vibrant moments, dimmed every bright possibility, until all that remained is a shadow. I don't reflect your light anymore.
Guard your peace.
Peace. God's at peace, my brother. Oh, how? How?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? This is your boy, Jay Dwayne Garnett, of course, with Love is a Parable. And I got a friend here tonight. Matter of fact, scratch that. I got a brother here tonight. And this is so impromptu. I know you guys haven't seen me go live in a while, but this is just an opportunity for me to connect with my brother. We have some amazing conversations offline. And I'm like, why don't we just go live? So before I get into this discussion, I want to give my brother an opportunity to introduce himself the way that he feels fit while I go around here and check and make sure I'm getting comfortable with this new social media platform. So, brother, go on and introduce yourself to the lovely people.
Man, yes, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, I appreciate the invite. I am Mr. DJ Unk Life. You can find me at DJ Unk Life on all social media platforms, man. Yes, indeed. You are my brother, man, and I mean that. I'm glad to be here. Uh, and, man, we're just going to talk like we would talk if we were sitting at the coffee table, bro. So let's go.
Well, that's all I know how to be is to be me. I'm definitely going to share this with a couple of people to get it. But first, man, tell me about the name because this is, I feel like there's a story behind it. There's a reason why you go by Arc Life. Share with us like that journey by how this became your name, your brand.
Absolutely, man. Indeed, Uncle Life is more than just a name, man. It is a brand. It is my brand. And if you notice, man, I spell life with a Y because so we all well most of us understand the symbolism, behind the Ankh being the key of life. The original cross, so on and so forth. But the reason why I chose to implement the Y in life is because the Y represents duality, man. It not only represents the spiritual, but it also represents the natural, man. It represents as above, so below, man. It represents choices, man, that everyone has in life, man. That Y in a road, that crossroads, man. So it's a constant reminder for me of the journey that I have been on, rediscovering myself, man, rediscovering the true and living God, been on that journey of not just manhood but spirituality, man, and understanding how all roads lead right back to the Most High God. Yeah, man, it's also my brand, Uncle Life Apparel, um, clothing line, cologne, cigars, all that stuff, man, is underneath the brand. So yeah,
So what I'm hearing is it's
got a
both
lot of
a
things working.
spiritual. I'm sorry, what you say?
Got a lot of things working, man.
I see. I was going to ask you. So when you came up with this name, it also seemed like it's affirmational every time that you say it. Um, how did you just know that this name was the name to represent you, almost just as much as your birth name?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what it was, man. It was a rebirth, man. I remember one day, man, I was coming home. But it's interesting. I'm driving home from church. It was a Sunday, man. I had preached a good word, right? And I'm sitting in my truck, man, and I started praying to God, and I was like, God, show me you. Show me your face through all of the gimmicks and all the half truths. I want to see you, man. And man, God and the Holy Spirit, man, started revealing some things to me and through me, and it took me on a path and it took me on a journey. And I'm also working on a book, man, about that. The book is called Awakening. Hopefully, man, it'll be out within the next month or so. And it just talks about everything as far as this journey, step by step, man. Uh, and it was emotional, but as far as the name, once I started just realizing, man, I was sitting on the couch one day and it just dropped in my spirit. I was sitting there praying and meditating, and I just saw it clear as day. But when I saw it, it was more than just a name. Like I knew at that moment that this was going to be my brand, and everything that I attached myself to is going to be through this brand. So,
Man, I love that. I think we went through something very similar. I do have my birth name. The J stands for Jeremy. Um,
okay.
and but my birth family don't even call me, like my biological family. Nobody really calls me Jeremy anyway. I got a nickname for my family. It's really government papers may say that, and my female best friend, her son's oldest, well, her oldest son's father used to always call me Jay. Um, and I had some issues with my last name at that time. You know how like you like, do I want to carry this? And my older brothers, they got different last names. My younger siblings got different last names. And so for the longest, I started going by Jay Dwayne. But
Mm.
something registered when I heard Jay Dwayne Garnett. And I remember going somewhere and somebody said, your name just sounded like you meant to go places. And I've always felt like
Mm.
that. So I kind of rebirthed myself as Jay Dwayne Garnett and kind of allowed Jeremy to die. Um, because that was more of a mask than who I actually was. And so Jay
Yeah,
Dwayne is very important to me. And it's so funny. People say, do you always say all of it? I'm like, I do. And people remember you.
yeah.
It has a lasting power, but it's also every time that they say it, it solidifies who I am now, not who I used to be. So I totally get it.
Man, you know what's interesting about what you just said? So the J in my name actually stands for Jermaine, right?
Mhm.
Which was the name that my family called me growing up, right? And my birth last name is Acosta, Acosta, right? But that's from my mom's side, right? I considered starting to go by my father's birth last name, which is Hall, Hall. But because there was a lot of aspects that was unfamiliar, right? Then I didn't want to attach myself to that name either, because I understand most people talk about generational curses, but I also think about the generational blessings, right? Certain things that's attached to you simply because of the birth name, the name that you was. So, but I wanted to redefine that for myself. I wanted to rewrite my own narrative, right? And so that's why, so the D, right? My first name is Diara. My mom's name is Donna, and my dad's name is Ira. So it's a combination of their name. So I just dropped the Ira off of my first name because I don't, disassociating myself with that family and learning some stuff. But I kept the D because that's my mom's name. That's where it comes from. Um, and and it's the same thing, man. So hearing you say that, man, I can resonate with that so much because I actually went through um, a ceremony with a Nigerian family that adopted me and took me in, not on paper but spiritually, right? To have a name change. So it's
Oh,
powerful,
that's
man.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
powerful.
And of
Yeah.
course, my favorite, one of my favorite, well, my favorite prophet is actually Jeremiah, or for those who, my Hebrew brothers and sisters, Yirmiyahu. Um,
That
and
makes
that's
sense.
the origin. And that's the origin of my name. And
Yeah.
so then I kind of took on, I'm not ashamed of my name. I'm a safeguarded, and everyone can't speak it because sometimes, man, I'm in the South and people be like, Jeremy, Germany, Germany.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope,
Yes,
you
sir.
don't get licensed to mispronounce my name because my name
Yeah.
has significance. And I identify with Prophet Jeremiah on so many levels. And so it became a full circle moment where I reconciled with myself. And so when I initially buried Jeremy, I also allowed him to be resurrected. And so
Mm.
I love all parts of me. I love my story. I love my journey. And I love who I am. And it's not who I'm becoming. Because I don't believe, and I think we talked about this before, like, I don't believe you become who you are. I believe you are who you are, and you just go through a journey of revealing that. Because
I can,
life, you say what now?
no, yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say, I mean, I can understand that. But go ahead and finish the thought.
Well, I just feel like life happens to us all, and we get so conditioned to being a response to what has happened to us that we bury who we are based on that. Like if you hear people every day, they don't mean anything about it. If you ask the average person to introduce themselves, they'll tell you everything they do before they'll tell you who they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just at a place now where I'm revealing that. So like people like, who is this new person? He's not a new person. He was there. He was just buried. But he was there all along. But what you about to say?
Man, that's true, man. The interesting thing about that, man, I'm big on when, like, I'm intentional about asking people who they are, right? And
Mhm.
when they tell me their name and when they tell me all these things, their compliments and what they do, I say, so if that was no longer there, then who would you be? If you were no longer this teacher or professor, then who would you be? If your name was to change for whatever reason, then who would you be? I pick and I probe because me, man, when you ask me who I am, right, one thing that's solidified that can't be changed, and I lead with this all the time, is I'm God's beloved, right? That's part of my journey. That's part of the name. That's part of my understanding. That's concrete, and that's not going to be changed. And then I build off of that because anything else, because that foundation is solid and concrete, right? It's going to be stable and durable. So, man, I'm real mindful about when someone asks me, who am I, whatever, um, just giving them my name and then leaving at that and then following it through with certain things that I've accomplished, titles, offices, stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I love that because, like, when I started Love is a Parable, for instance, it was the first thing that I created that was 100% me, 100% connected to my purpose. And I never questioned it.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're doing other projects, you're like, is now the right time? Should I do this? Should I do that? How should I go about it? It was like, it was just a beautiful thing that I finally figured out a path for me and how to do all the things that I can do versus having to choose one. It's like society has
Mm.
this lateral system where this linear system where it wants you to pick one thing and you do that for the
Mhm.
next 40 to 45 years and retire and move on. And I refuse to settle or compromise anymore. And Love is a Parable allowed me to do all of that, from being the artist that I am, from being the creative that I am, being the thought partner that I am, the philosopher. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't ever have to say no because I created something that's out of me. So I don't have to put on for anybody because, and I've seen the success. And I'm going to tell you what's addictive when you finally see the success associated with you being yourself versus having to be something else. Um, that really did something for me. And so a lot of people, like, even though I say I'm about to be 47, my birthing moment happened for me in 2017.
So about that'd be about what, 9 years ago.
Yep. Next year I'll be 10, brother.
I love it, man. I love it, man. I mean, that's and that's and the awesome thing about it, man. Um, when it's right, it's just right, man. You don't need anyone else's validation or approval. Um, and I had to step outside of that, man, of wanting other people's approval because people aren't going to see it the way we see it. You know, people aren't going to see it the way you see it. And all it takes, man, and I've been in this place, all it takes is one naysayer or one negative word to discourage you. And now you find yourself trying to dig yourself out of that because you asked someone their opinion and they was honest, but it affects you in a way like, man, well, am I supposed to be doing this? Or am I and it's not saying that the individual has ill intentions, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's not for them, it's for you. This is being birthed through you. So we got to be mindful of that space as well. Lord, I've been there.
And I ain't gonna lie, because sometimes I feel like, is it really a naysayer or is us seeking confirmation to our negative thoughts? Because sometimes we want somebody to affirm something that we think negative of ourselves, and we just looking for agreement, you know? Um, and that's
Could be,
why,
yeah.
and we talked about this earlier, like I value who I value, and I value people for different reasons. So, like, for instance, our friendship just came out of nowhere, but I value your opinion. But the next
Yeah.
person I may have known just as long as you, but I don't value their opinion. And it's not that I'm trying to hurt them or anything like that. Your value just doesn't hold, your word doesn't hold any stock in the influence of my opinion because I didn't allow access to that.
Yeah, man, it's interesting that you brought that up because we've been friends now. Um, I think I may have met you around November or December. It got tight, around December, January. But it's crazy because I remember last year. I can't remember where I was, but I was praying, right, and I heard a word, man, and the word said, "There's gonna be two brothers, man, that you need in this season, right?" And bro, man, if I tell you, man, I was getting pushed back because I wasn't trying to be attached to nobody because of what I'm saying, a bunch of foolishness. Uh, but I mean, it's like once I came in contact with you and we started talking, it's like it. I understood then what that word that was given to me was about, man. So it's not by mistake or by chance that you and I are here supporting each other because just as much as you value me and my words, man, I value yours. And even if I may not, I know sometimes I get pushback, man, but that don't mean that I don't value it.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so
Look, I totally understand it, and it's funny that we're saying it because let me see, brother Isaiah just popped up on my screen.
I,
What's
brother,
going on, brother? And it's the same thing. Like I connected with him. We were in a Facebook group, and he and I connected, and I knew we were supposed to just connect. And I offended him and didn't even know I offended him one time. And I was like, bro, I don't even lead with that heart. But we was able to have the conversation, flush it out, and rebuild. And I promise you, I love to see people win. And that's another one. He's a
yeah,
therapist from Pennsylvania. I love for people around me to just win. And if you come into my circle, like you can have low moments, but you will never be defeated around me because if you are defeated, then you telling me that I'm defeated. And I don't hang around people who are defeated because we're not losers. Everybody I'm
and
connected
that's
to
the
is a
thing, bro.
winner.
Yeah, and man, you know what's amazing about that? Like even in those times to where you have, you may have said something that I didn't particularly agree with, because I know you, right? And the Holy Spirit like allowed me to see you. I know even in that space that you don't have bad intentions. So I have to check myself and how I'm perceiving what you're saying. Like I know without a shadow of a doubt that you're not intentionally trying to offend me. So what is it that I'm sitting in that's having me in this space of any thought of taking what you say personal? Uh, so
But it happens because you got to think if most of us is like, if I've been giving you poo poo and calling it apple pie, what's gonna happen when you finally get apple pie? So
But
sometimes
it's good to give me. Yeah,
so a lot of us have been conditioned to our environment or how we perceive life. And for a lot of us, perception became our truth versus allowing truth to be truth. And so a lot of us stand on perspective and our perception of life. And unfortunately, it has influenced so many decisions and so many things that we've been through that it's going to take. No, this is kind of segued into our conversation. I don't know why I was blessed this way to see things 360, but I understand transitional periods and I give
okay.
people grace in their birth. And like when I see a person, I sometimes don't see their age, I see their maturity in that experience.
Mm.
And so it allows me not to be, it's almost like some people, like for instance, there's some people who have special needs.
Yeah,
And even though they might be of age, there is a delay. And a lot of us have different handicaps that have happened to us that have stifled our growth in one way or another. And for some reason, I was blessed to see that. And sometimes I give, and I feel like I give people grace in that area because I know how it feels for people to assume that you have a skill set that you've never been introduced to. You know?
yep. And I'm just gonna let you have that one.
I know.
I mean, it's that's also part of being self-aware, right? Knowing what's
Hmm.
for you, knowing what's not for you, knowing that the areas that you're supposed to work in, that the people that you're called to, and all this. So, yeah, that's that. But I pick up what you're putting down, man. And yeah, man, I agree.
Well, and I found that I'm that one because I also am the one that people think have the quick temper, and I really don't. I'm excitable, but I don't have the quick temper. Like it takes me a long time. But all my friends, seriously, all my friends that are close to me, they'll go from 0 to 1,000 in like a millisecond. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not even mad. I just say, I think also because I just say how I feel all the time. I'm brutally honest all the time.
Hmm.
So it takes somebody with thick
Oh no,
skin to
man.
make it.
There's been a couple of times where it seemed like you might have got a bit snappy.
You say what now? You say what
There's been
now?
a couple of times where it seems like you might have got a bit snappy.
Oh, because that's how I felt in that moment.
I got. I was like, oh, all right. I'm gonna sit back. You got it. Yeah,
It
that's
usually
good.
comes out. I found out it usually come out around leadership type of things. Like if you are a leader and you are abusing or misusing somebody, I usually lose my cool. Or if you're in a place where you can like you can damage a person, I usually lose my cool because I'm like, don't you damage these people because these
I
people need
agree.
it. So yeah, so my issue is never like with laymen. It's always with the leaders, and I
No,
and I, I yeah, I'm not ashamed to say
no,
that.
yeah, yeah, man. I agree with what you're saying 100%, man. Not long ago, man, I was having a conversation. We were having a conversation, and the other guy that was included in the conversation was a bishop, right? And there was a young lady, and the young lady was talking about um, what is it? Abstaining until marriage, right? Abstaining
Hmm.
until marriage, right? Um, and he was painting this pretty picture of it, man. He's been doing it for 3 years. He ain't had no issues, and man, and it put me in the fact in a mindset like, man, you cannot set people up for failure. Like she's pouring her heart out, but equipped her. This is an opportunity. It's not going to be easy. However, put this in place. This in place. Here's some scriptures. I mean, it was a moment, but it almost seemed like instead of him using that opportunity, man, to really help build her up to be successful, like he's taking advantage, man, and kind of watering down. And the only reason why I know is because I've been on that journey. Like I've been in a space to where I cut everything off until I got married. I've been in a space to where I've seen other people in that space also, and you gotta be a special kind of person and have a tough prayer relationship to to be successful, and I'm not talking about until relationships, until marriage. So, yeah, man.
Listen, you ain't gonna get me on that one because boy, that's we can go down that one because I do agree. Um, but I also feel like we have conversations out of order. We talk about abstinence, but we don't provide education enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
We don't give people skill sets and tools. So there's no training and equipping, very minimum discipleship. So when we have these conversations, it's like the practicality is gone out the window. So how are you gonna have an approach when I don't have a skill set to that, and I'm living in a world? But yeah, so I agree. But bro, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit because
All
you
right,
did
cool.
share that you got this book coming out. So I want to ask you a couple questions. Just let me know what you think, and I'm gonna have it up here for you. What sparked your decision to write your book, and how did you know it was the right time to share your story?
So funny thing, man, right? I have a therapist, right? She's absolutely amazing, right? So I actually have two books, right? One of them is complete. So I started with my therapy journey, right? So I started backwards, and right when I finished that book and I was getting ready to release it, um, man, I pray a lot, man. I pray, I meditate like multiple times a day. So I'm in a space of prayer, and I received a phone call from a friend of mine, and I'm on the phone, and during that conversation, they was asking questions about spirituality and religion, and just sharing their story, and it's like my healing journey stemmed from the spiritual aspect, right, and the steps that I took. So I had to backtrack, right, and pause that book to write the first book to lead up to that book, right? Because it's like I'm giving you tools, but I'm not, but I have not expressed the practical aspects that people deal with in life to utilize the tools. But through that conversation, I saw a need, right? I saw that this journey is not just something that I have experienced. There's a lot of people that are experiencing, have experienced this journey, and people need to understand the trajectory, the direction. They're not alone. It's not wrong to ask questions. Um, it's not wrong to search for truths, but in that search, you got to understand that all roads lead right back to this space. So, and that's what it
Wow,
was, man.
got it. Um, so the back part of it, how did you know this was the right time to share the story?
Um, Man, I just knew. Um, this conversation kept recirculating. You know, the having to get it out, man. I had to get it out, man. It's like um, when you just know something, you just know something. Um, I've always been in tune, um, with the spirit. I've always been in tune. I've always been um, a strong prayer warrior, man. And for me, hearing from the spirit, you know what I'm saying, hear from God, it's just a knowing, right? And it's never steered me wrong. So,
I love that. It's I started transitioning sometimes. Like I feel like people say that they're looking for confirmation. A lot of times when they're really looking for affirmation, like we get the confirmation in so many different ways, but now we're looking for something to affirm the very thing that we thought and know and believe to be true. Um, because that's kind of how I felt similar when I was writing my last book. I was working on a different type of book. And I remember riding down Holly Springs Road and I heard the audible voice of the Heavenly Father say, I didn't tell you to write that book. And I was like, well, you didn't tell
mm,
me not to write the book. You know me. And he said, I need you to
yeah,
start back writing poetry. So in less than 30 days, I had 30 poems and a book was complete and it felt like so much weight was lifted. It felt like I birthed something that was totally different. it just felt like it was that time, you know?
Yeah,
So I
and
definitely get that. Hmm?
this is the Can I Just Write book.
Yeah, that's the Can I Just Write book.
Man, I love that book, man. It's awesome, man. I have a book of poetry too that I'm going to release later on this year, and then it's something that I've been working on for about 2 years, man. And it's just like my expressions on different aspects of life. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have another book out. My very first book was a book of poetry called Random Thoughts, Phases of a Poetic Mind. Um, but that
Mm,
was necessary to be out because I'm gonna tell you now, anybody that go look at it, the formatting is horrible. Probably some of the grammar is horrible, and I'm not changing it because
right.
um,
It needs to
people
sound
need
like
to
this.
see that growth. Right.
Yeah.
And some of those
Yeah.
poems in there, I wrote when I was 13, 14 years old. So it's necessary for you
Ah,
to see that. It's necessary for you to hear those stories, but it sets the stage for Can I Just Write? And then my other two books are instructional manuals. That's part of the Love is a Parable
okay.
training. But all of this was necessary. And I think um, Kiki, what's the girl name?
What she do?
Kiki, what's her name? Kiki,
What did she do?
she an actress, singer, actor.
Oh,
uh,
Kiki Palmer.
Kiki Palmer, yeah, it's like it
Yeah,
skipped me. I kept saying Kiki White. I'm like, that ain't it, that ain't it. But
that's the
Kiki
other
Palmer
girl.
said,
Which
right.
what? What she
Kiki
do?
Kiki Palmer said something that's she was like, you waiting on the right time or waiting for your thing to be perfect, but just get it out. Just get it out. And I feel that urgency a lot of times with us as creatives, I feel like we lessen it when we go through this process of constantly refining it when it's already been tested. You, the fire. So it's been going through
Yeah,
hell with you to even be birthed, and now you're gonna you go sit with it and say, okay, let me refine it again. And before you know it, it's no longer your walk. It's no longer your thoughts. It's no longer the purity of you is no longer there because we have allowed others to influence the way that we deliver. And I feel that sometimes that can hinder, especially about delicate, sensitive words that need to come forth. You know what I mean?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That definitely need to come forth. So thank you for sharing that. You ready for the next question?
Well, let me say this real quick.
Okay.
And also, so I used to physically pastor church. We had a building for about 7 or 8 years, man. Right. Um, I closed the doors of the church. I used COVID as an excuse, right? But
Hmm.
honestly, it was in the beginning stages of this journey. But I'm realizing, man. So I'm in the process of revamping some things and going back to parishes, but it's not going to look the way it looked at the time, man. Um, man, there's an entire generation that are on that's on this journey, man, that needs something to grab a hold to. Um, and that's the space that God has me in, man. So even in this book, man, a lot of the stuff I talk about, um, it's all about bridging the gap, between the generations, man. It's about listening and grasping and understanding. If anybody knows me, I'm big on listening, man. If you don't listen, then how can you effectively change anything? Right? It starts with listening. And I talk to a lot of people. I mean, you will be surprised, man, some of the things that I'm involved in the community, man. I'm in elementary schools, I'm in high schools, I'm in community centers, right? And I hear this story time and time again about this need to simply bridge the gap. But we have to listen. And I'll pause right there. What's your next question?
Keep on going. It's funny that you say that because we're talking about these seasons and it's just happening. Jessica Brown is my friend
Hey,
from, she's from Nevada or Nevada. Which one is it? Nevada, Nevada, Nevada.
it depends on where you're from and how
Yeah,
you
she
say
correct me, and I can't remember which one it
it.
is. But either way, she's over there, and she too was a former pastor who stepped down.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I stepped down from ministry, and so when we're talking about these step down moments, I don't think a lot of people understand the strength it takes to step down and not give into societal pressures to say somewhere and potentially cause damage or harm.
Yeah.
So I think it's strength in that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's strength in releasing things, not giving up, but releasing and letting go.
Bro, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna tell you, I was grateful for COVID because it gave me an excuse, and I'm just
Mm.
keeping it totally 100. So yeah, I hear the strength and all that, but I kind of maxed mine at the time.
What's going
You know,
on?
hey,
He's over there
hey,
near you
Sean,
over there
what's
in
going
Texas.
on,
What's going on,
Texas brother?
Jamon? Uh-huh.
Yeah, man.
So I love that. And I think that, well, you know what? I'm going to jump into the next question because I was about to go somewhere. So here's the
All
next
right.
question. Writing can be both healing and challenging. What emotions did you wrestle with most while putting your words on paper?
Oh man, what, bro? So you know about grief and you know about the different stages of it. Man, I went through it all. Man, some days I was writing, I was angry. Man, I lashed out. Man, some days I'd be writing the tears. The pages are soaked with tears. Man,
Uh-huh.
some days, man, I'll be writing and I'll be laughing because I remember this, but I'm not here anymore. Man, you name the emotion, and I'm just talking about the initial reaction. Man, I'm talking about the secondary emotions, the uh, third-area emotions, are trying to figure out why I'm mad, right? And I have to step back and ask myself, okay, why am I doing this again? Like, why am I reliving these painful truths? Why, right? I had to ask myself them questions, man, and understanding that I'm angry because there's still some pain associated with this, man, or like I'm angry now because there's still a level of fear that's associated with expressing certain aspects, especially from being a pastor, preaching and teaching, and so understanding, man, I had to relive those moments. I had to process, man, and it's like sometimes, man, I would just go sit on the back of my truck, man, and just let the tears flow because I
Yeah.
wanted to feel. I had to feel every single emotion because when the readers read my book, man, they're gonna feel it as well. So it's not watered down, man. It's raw. I talk about me lashing out at pastors and intentionally using my wits and words and all that to destroy certain things, man. And it was tough, man. But I felt it, and I pushed through and got it done. So
Is there any emotions in particular that you feel like were more consistent? Um, like I remember when I wrote Can I Just Write? I felt a lot of guilt. And I felt a lot of shame. And I felt guilt on two folds. I felt guilt for hiding or censoring parts of myself. I felt guilty for the damage that it did to me. So, like when people talk about hurt, the hurt wasn't in the forefront to me. That was like a lesser emotion. But the guilt of showing up and not being 100% myself bothered me. And I think what bothered me the most is when I realized I was unhappy and I didn't even know I was unhappy. And that's a scary place
yeah,
to be in a place where you don't even know yourself well enough and you're functioning and dysfunction so well that it takes you a moment to kind of recalibrate and reassign emotions and feelings that lay dormant. It was guilt for me.
man. The most jarring thing for me was realizing that I'm no longer numb to a lot of things, and I'm actually feeling these things now. Um, but I mean, to be numb for something for so long, and we have these mental blocks, but now you're actually feeling it, and now there's no excuse because I've been through therapy, I've been through counseling, so I have the tools to feel what I need to feel. I'm self-aware. I know how to regulate my emotions. I know how to, so all these things are in place. I know about the certain pressure points. But in that moment, now it's time to put all this thing to work. So it's not one particular emotion that it was, but it was the fact that now I can feel these things. I'm no longer numb to it. It's no longer in the back of my mind. It's no longer the subconscious thing. Now these things are right in the forefront of my mind, and I have to get through. I have to feel these things to get this book project out because the time is now. And I'm the type of believer. Um, you, there's a scripture in the Bible that says that the window, being open and the blessings pouring out. Well, I understand that the window isn't always open. So when it's time, and you can miss that window of opportunity. So that's what it
I
was,
love
man.
that.
Just yeah.
Okay, here go another one. How does your book reflect the values you live by, and what do you hope readers carry with them after closing the last page?
Well, that's a great question, man. And it it shifted my values in such a way, um, because again, when you are aware, when you know better, you have to do better, man. I actually had to call some of my old pastor friends and apologize. Like I had to show up at the church, man, and apologize for a lot, man, because I can't tell somebody else to live a certain way or to do a certain thing when I still got this weight hanging over my head over some things that I intentionally did because of the place of pain that I was in, but I
Hmm.
didn't give my pain a voice, so it found a voice of its own, and so I lashed out at people because of the familiarity, because that was a place that I was in. And it's not that I disagree or think that what you're saying is wrong. It's just that I have not processed that yet, man. So the main thing, feel your emotions, feel your pain, not just the good emotions, those uncomfortable emotions as well. Because if you don't allow these things to have a voice, it's going to find one, and the outlet that it finds is going to be unhealthy.
I can dig that. Um, I think for me, I wanted the one thing that I
Oh,
hate about.
don't be afraid to ask those difficult questions. That's the main thing. All right. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I think for me, I hate that the older we get, we lose the characteristics that make us human. We try to become so
Mm.
disciplined and like so learned that simple emotions we look at as if something is wrong with you, and we have to literally ask for permission to feel, to be human. And so I wanted people to return to themselves and return to the first love of themselves, those first awakening moments, and to give yourself grace and allow yourself just to be human again. Meaning, I can be mad today, but that doesn't mean I had a bad day. I can have bad moments, but not a whole bad day. Um, my notes. One of my favorite albums is by Lauryn Hill, and it's actually her Unplugged album, which everybody tries to say is horrible, but I feel like that's her best album to me. And she said so many things that people missed. She said, "My voice is an instrument. I'm not a slave to it."
Yeah.
So she produced something like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, where a lot of people talked about how wonderful that was. But her true gift is when she released and wrote and was just 100% raw on that Unplugged album and writing things like Adam Lives in Theory, Water. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on of nuggets and the wisdom that she dropped. By far, that's one of her better albums. It released me because I remember when I used to do poetry, I used to stress myself out talking about, oh, I got to remember this because I got to recite it. And man, I go up there with my phone, I go up there with a piece of paper, I do what whatever I feel comfortable with. If I remember it, I remember it. If I don't, I don't, because my gift is my mind and my voice. My gift is not in my ability to memorize, because that's not what people are coming from. People are not going to read Can I Just Write because I memorized something. They're going to read Can I Just Write because I poured out something. And I want people to focus again on that. And so she gave me, as an artist, permission to be an artist and not just be a performative performer.
Okay. I'm picking up what you put down. You know, to each his own. But yeah, that's a good album. But yeah, man, I love that, man. I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
I lost the thought right there, but it'll come back in a minute.
So you don't like that Unplugged album because you gave me a face. You don't like the Unplugged album?
You got some decent songs on there.
Man, I love that album. I love that album. So let's switch it up. Let's switch it up a little bit. What is something you've learned about yourself that has surprised you this year?
Oh man, one of the main things, man. It's crazy, man.
What?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, I'm laughing because I talked about it this morning, and it was an aha moment, man. Um, a lot of times, man, what I feel like it could be protection, right? Because I'm big on allowing people to have their voice. I'm big on not allowing anyone to take my voice away, but also building a space for everyone to be comfortable and to have that voice as well. But sometimes I got to be mindful because I want to make sure I word it right. Um, Sometimes, like, everyone is not as self-aware as I am. And everyone has not read the books that I've read or sat in the spaces that I've read. So just because they may overtalk or whatever the case may be, does not mean that they have ill intentions, right? It's just a skill set that one hadn't that everyone does not possess. Sometimes a lot of things, have to be learned, and that's what I was going to say earlier when you was talking and you spoke. Something you said. I was going to say, well, it's a learned behavior. Oh, we're talking about feeling the emotions and letting people feel their emotions. It's easy to tell somebody that, right? But to someone that's been numb to these emotions for years, right? So now, how do they crack the top on that can, right? You know what I'm saying? How do they begin to feel their emotions? So, but it's a learned behavior, man. Just allowing people to sit in the space, and it's not about shutting down, but it's about being a physical example of how, of I guess, a certain level of order or understanding. But I have to realize just because someone don't do it the way I do it does not mean that they have ill intentions. It's just an aha moment. So appreciate that.
No problem, brother. Jamon said the church, especially the Black church, does not allow you to be authentically you. You want to say anything about that?
I mean, we got to be careful about our experiences and projecting our experiences, on other people. I've been to some Black churches that allowed you to be you and authentically you, but I've also been to some white churches that built the structure that if you don't operate under this structure, then you're going to get put off the church. So it's not about black or white, man. Um, it's just about finding that space, man. And if these are experiences that you've experienced, then I'm saying, I pray that you find a place that allows you to be authentically you. But we got to be mindful not to just project that on every Black church. Because I've been to some churches that I would love to go back to. When I pastored the church, man, I did not. A lot of people that came to the church were people that were not church folk, if you understand what I'm saying. So I had to allow them to be them until God shifted some things in their life. So we just got to be mindful about that projection.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
say
it.
this. I feel like it ain't just the church though. I feel like as a whole, we have we have conditioned ourselves to perceive dot in certain ways, whatever that may be. Like everybody has their idea of
Right.
what holiness is. They have the idea of what righteousness is. They have the idea of what's learned and what's all of these things in it. And I think that going back to Can I Just Right, I think that that's what I want to push back on. Like for the average person, from 0 to 2 is where most of our conditional programming took place. That's when people are in there saying,
Okay.
like you're a parent, so you know the first 2 years you saying no,
Yeah.
stop, and we're saying it as parents because we want our
Don't
children to
touch
be
that. Put
safe,
it down.
right? We're saying that because we want them to be disciplined and we want them to be safe and we want them to be well taken care of, but we also are telling them don't trust your instinct. And conditional programming comes there. So we're telling them how to think, how to feel, what safety looks like, what is respectable, what is not. And we go through this identity crisis of who am I? Because a lot of times our consciousness now sounds like the voice of our village, whether it's good or bad. So now we're trying to figure out who we are. And so I think when I go, because I serve on an interfaith alliance, when I'm going to different ministries, everyone has an idea of what holiness looks like. But
Yeah.
why are people still leaving hurt? When I go on jobs and they talk about we have a professional atmosphere, well, why does so many things that are not professional take place there?
Yeah.
So everybody has something that they're trying to control, and everybody is trying to figure it out, but nobody want to say, I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I have a friend, man. He's a great friend of mine, right? Um, um, so we call them pastors, but under his organization, they call men ministers. But he's a minister over the Church of Christ, right? And if you've ever
Uh-huh.
been to a Church of Christ, you know that they don't use like instruments. The only instruments that they use is their voice. The voice is their instrument, right? And I've been there a few times, and they allow you to be authentically you, right? But these are the standards that you can be authentically you. And so you take that mindset under
Right.
any, but it's the same thing. Like you can be you, but these are the house rules.
Correct.
I mean, it's like, well, yeah, yeah. So we got to be mindful of that, man. And one of the things that I'm big and I'm passionate on, man, um, is a lot of times we feel like we have to operate inside of the box or outside of the box, right? Right? We got to be in or out. But I'm like, well, just do away with the box, man. It allows so much freedom. It allows you, right, to be authentically you when you do away with the box.
I
So,
definitely agree with that. And look, and now I'm gonna have to just argue with him just a little bit because he made this statement. Um, I don't know why you walked out on that. He told me he watched it live and left halfway through Lauryn Hill's performance. And
mm,
I watched the whole thing. I cried with her. I felt everything about that album, and I still love that album and the talk points and all of that.
I know that's
Um,
cool.
Matter of fact, me and my female best friend, when I was in Augusta one day, and the train stopped, and I was listening to it, and the train went by, and we had to sit there, and so she was listening. She was like, "I'm not feeling this album," but before you know it, she was just crying. She was like, "Oh my god, I never paid it any attention," and she like, "I love this album." So we still talk about that because I think that we all have assignments, and our greatest work come out of the things that we're purposed to do. And I think sometimes we try to craft our purpose versus allowing it to just flow. And I
Mm,
think when we allow things to flow and be more fluid with who we are by design, I think a lot of things just happen differently for us. You know what I mean?
yeah, Yeah.
Okay,
Go
you
ahead.
about to say something? No, go ahead.
No. I was thinking about what you said. Like we just can't let that pass. You know that. Um, yeah. When I was kind of sitting in those words, those powerful words, I love it. I like it, and I agree. Um,
Okay, here go your next question, brother.
okay.
Oh, hold on 1 second. I think we got a comment that came up. Oh, another Houston in the house. That's Jamon's wife and my sister April. I love her. She said when I talk about Erskine stages of development, the first two stages is trust versus mistrust, then autonomy versus shame and doubt. The first 1 to 3 years is built on trusting to be okay with me and conforming to be acceptable.
Hmm.
Acceptable.
Yeah, acceptable. Yeah.
Hey, my sister.
Yeah.
You want to look at that again before you
No,
respond?
no,
Want
no,
to read
no.
it?
I
Okay.
got it, and yeah, man, that's totally accurate, man. A lot of people don't know, man, but I'm in the midst of becoming a shadow work coach, right? And these are
Uh-huh.
the stages that go.
What's the shadow work coach? Before you
So the shadow is basically a stage of development in between like 4 and 7, right? So this is now when you begin to so the this is where you begin to come into who you are. Like the traumatic experiences begin to shed in, and now they're shaping your mental. So this is what happens after what she spoke of happens, right? Um, it's just a developmental phase of life, the shadow
she
phase.
added that part too. She added that part, so you'll see it, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a developmental phase of life. It's where a lot of times where a lot of the things that we wrestle with happens in this particular period of life, the shadow period. So
And so this is now you got me thinking about something. Being a former pastor and all of that, what are your thoughts about everything that we don't understand or everything that's not understood is called demonic or some type of spiritual warfare? Like for instance, right now, people are saying that being in a fraternity is of the devil. The list goes on and on, like horoscopes is
mhm.
of the devil. um, what are your thoughts about everything that's not really understood? Even you can even throw voodoo and hoodoo in there.
Yeah,
Those are things that are called demonic and have been perceived that way. So, what are your thoughts about those things
you want
being
me to,
mislabeled or labeled?
you want me to speak freely?
Yeah, speak freely.
I think a lot of
I
it
want you to speak unfreely. Speak in bondage. In
speaking
bondage. In
now,
bondagely.
okay. I think a lot of it comes from what people see on TV, right? What they don't understand. A lot of people get stuck on terminology, what they saw in a movie, right? Because they saw um what's that movie with Samuel Jackson and Lynn Woodfield and a little girl, Journey Smollett, and
Oh, Eve's by you?
yeah, Eve's Bayou, because of what they saw in that movie, and the auntie and the little girl did voodoo. So now every time they hear voodoo, their mind automatically goes to that. But when in all actuality, if you really understand principles, right, and if you understand everything that goes into it, it's simply it's a different, not necessarily religion, but culture, right? Um, and a lot of the things that they practice, it's not all what people would label as demonic. It's just different, right? It's no different than like a Christian and a Muslim separate. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So you really got to understand principles and stop judging things off of what you saw on TV. A lot of people get stuck on terminology, right? Like even the terminology of the term demonic, man, it has such a negative association. But when you really understand what that term means, um, then when you say demonic, then you understand it's 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 a term to where you're acting less than the man that God created you to be. Not that you're possessed, but you're acting less than what you should be. So in all these spaces, man, a lot of people get stuck on terminology. A lot of things that we say that people practice, man, it's you can find a lot of it in the Bible, but the term is different, but the meaning is the same. So that's just a little bit of it. I'm not gonna talk about this stuff all day. I encourage people to do the research themselves. Stop negating everything that you see because of what you saw on TV or what you heard, man. Do your research, understand it. Um, you know, I'm big on allowing you to operate in whatever makes you a better person. Just because it's not for me, and I understand that my way is not for everyone, but I'm not going to condemn you to hell because you practice something that I don't practice. And just because some people call it witchcraft, then I'm not going to automatically associate it with something being horrible because of the viewpoint that we have on witches because of what we've seen on TV and all this type of stuff. So that's just me though. Like my mind is open to a whole new world because of the research that I've done, the books that I've read, the studying that I've done, the rooms that I've sat in, and so on and so forth.
Well, definitely while you were talking before, April was giving you support. She was like, shadow work, yes.
It
and then
makes
she
you a better person.
and then she was also confirming what you were talking about early. Then at 13 to 19, you are revisiting to reshape and
I
find
think I just met my new best friend, April.
you can't have her.
Yeah.
But I'll make sure y'all connect. I'll make sure y'all
People hear
connect
the
on
term
Facebook.
shadow, right? Shadow work, and they think it's a negative term. No, it's just it's a space in your life, man, that you are developing who you are going to be in order to come out of some stuff because that stage is so impactful, and you have to revisit that and deal with things that you didn't have the tools to deal with as a 7-year-old child. That's all shadow work is. It has nothing to do with like some weird stuff, but because people hear the term shadow work, they give it a negative
Yeah.
association.
They're like, oh, yep, I know what you mean. Well, look,
Right.
my pastor on, because I'm the son of the house, even though I ain't been in a while, I need to come back. But here go the pastor of the Shepherd's Flock Baptist Church.
Pastor.
Wayne Wilhelm. He said anything that challenges, confronts, or has potential to be a threat to any power structure often gets labeled demonic.
That's I agree.
And he said until the story of the hunt is told by the lion, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter.
Pastor, I'm telling you now, I'm going to reuse that. That's powerful, but that's true, and that's the thing. Hey, friend,
April,
do the work yourself.
Jamon, get your wife. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Stop going off of what you're seeing on TV. Stop going off of what the next man said based off of what they've seen on TV, and do the work. And this is the thing: if it's not for you, just let it. Don't be for you. Right? Yes, it's open. Just let it. Don't be for you. Hey, I'm sorry. You want to say hi?
Hey, I love you too.
Right. Well, she keep knocking on the door.
Hey,
How you
what's
doing?
going on, man?
Yeah.
We just decided to go live, just random, having a discussion, and it ended up.
Are
Look,
you
we've been
live
on an hour.
Yeah,
What we live on?
StreamYard.
We're live on
Yeah.
Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube
Yeah.
right now.
You ain't talking.
You look amazing. You look amazing.
But yeah, I love that. I'm sorry. Everything okay?
Yes, I came to ask you, do you want your grilled cheese made now or you want to make it later?
Oh,
Give me a few minutes.
All right.
well, you know what? And I ask you one more question, and then you can go ahead and go because a grilled cheese.
Okay.
Ooh, with some tomato soup, be bussin'.
I got
Okay.
some vegetable soup, man. You know I'm on my vegetable thing, man.
Okay,
You know.
let me see. I'm gonna see. I end with this one.
Okay.
How would you like to be most remembered?
How would I like to be most remembered, man? So there's two parts of me, man. You've experienced the the free flowing side, the guy that walks around with the image of himself on his shirt.
And for the people who know me, you thought I was bad.
But I'm that guy, but then also, it's the serious side, man. The passionate guy, the guy with the heart of gold that will do anything for you, even if I don't like you, man, or even if we were at odds, I'll still feed you and give you the shirt off my back. Man, I'm gonna say, man, just compassion, man. I want everyone in my presence to feel safe, man. I want everyone to be safe. I know how it feels. The people that are supposed to love you and supposed to protect you and supposed to keep you safe, man. I know how it feels to not be safe in the space where you should be. And that's why, man, I'm real mindful, man. I don't take connections, friendships, and associations for granted, whether it's virtually or in person. I want to be remembered for not just my humility, man, but also my integrity. Like, I pride myself on how I carry myself, even when I'm by myself. Like, I'm not going to talk bad about you in your space, so I'm definitely not going to talk bad about you behind your back. I'm not going to allow nobody else to do it because I call you brother. And not just you, anybody I associate with, you're going to be safe with me. So
I love that.
It.
And I say I want to be most remembered by being a gift, in a sense of allowing people permission to return to themselves. One scripture that always stuck with me, I grew up Baptist, and then I was a spiritual leader in non-denominational churches and even in a synagogue. And one of the scriptures during tithes and offering, we always used to read Malachi. Will a man rob God? But before we got there, it's a scripture right above that starts with, return unto me and I'll return unto you.
Mm-hmm.
And that sets up the stage for the robbing, because that lets us know that there was once a time that we were in the presence of the Most High. And that's the only way a robbery could take place. Mm-hmm. But something happened where we left. And as you go down and read, it says, return unto me and I'll return unto you. Then it comes down and asks the proverbial question, will a man rob God? And we say, where has man robbed? Where have he robbed thee? In tithes and offering. But what people don't realize is that you are the tithe.
Mm-hmm.
You are the most valuable thing. And he is asking for you to return. And a lot of our problems happen because we have left who we are. So I want anybody that I encounter to have permission to return to themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be remembered most by. Brother, I thank you for having this impromptu meeting. We're going to go ahead and end the stream. You stay on, because we're probably going to do this again just so we could do, behind the scenes, do our real goodbyes. But everybody who tuned in with us tonight, please share this live. If you feel like anything that was expressed helped somebody, helped you, share it with a friend. Let them know that, guess what? We are coming back, but we're going to do things differently. Whether you were a follower of What's Up Family or Brother Empowerment, it doesn't matter. Those things are going to come back, but it's going to come back differently. It's going to come back organically. It's going to come back natural and fluidly. But also, if you are ever in a place where you feel that nobody in this world loves you, you just met two people that do, reach out to us, connect with us, find a way to just stay. All right, we out. About to end this thing.
Guard your peace. Hey, bro, you have to be brave enough to unlearn what has kept you from being the best version of yourself. Guard your peace. All I see is black. You drained the color from my life, stole the vibrant moments, dimmed every bright possibility, until all that remained is a shadow.